Good meowing guys, gals, MBs, YouTube catters, and now Palworld Tamers. Welcome to the first deck guide, a deck breakdown, deck tutorial, deck showcase, I guess, of the brand new Palworld Card Game, Palworld TCG, Palworld official card game. Been doing a lot of testing on the online deck builder and playtesting simulator. And from these games, I think I've settled on a strategy that I really enjoy. But before we do get into that deck breakdown, if you enjoy this video, if you enjoy the Palworld videos, if you want to see more Palworld card game content, let me know down in the comments below. And while you're there, remember to like and subscribe to support the channel, all that good YouTube stuff. So without further ado, let's hop into that deck breakdown and show off a few replays. So here is Blue Purple Dragon Control. All right, so here's the list, and let me tell you, I really do sort of gravitate towards these more control, slower style decks, so I'm happy to be able to play one in Palworld. And with Blue Purple Dragon Control, this is one of those slower style control decks that aims to really control the board early with your powerful removal spells. And in the mid to late game, we're going to be comboing off with our powerful dragons, all centered around one of my favorite pals in particular, and that's Chillet the Dragon Whisperer. Now this is a 5 soul pal, 900 power, 2 strike lucky pal that we are running 4 copies of because auto on deploy. So when you play this card, you reveal the top card of your deck, and if it is an 8 cost or less dragon pal, you get to deploy it for free. You get to just play it out. If you did not deploy it, then you just add it to your hand. So at worst, this is a 5 mana, 900 power pal with 2 strike and draws you a card. And then at best, it is going to hit any one of our multiple dragons that we have here. We have our 4 Elphadran Aqua, 4 Relaxosaurus, 2 Jormuntide, 2 Astagon, and 4 Elphadran the Gentle Radiance. And also notice this effect is not a hard once per turn or a soft once per turn, anything like that. So you can also just hit another Chillet off the Chillet ability, which lets you continue to snowball from there, because then that Chillet would trigger, letting you play out another dragon if there's another dragon on top, and so on and so forth. And then again, if we don't hit a dragon, then we're just drawing a card, and we're drawing into the only other things in this deck, which are either our attack nullifiers, our interrupts, Pingullet as our only other normal pal, which also draws us a card and plays on a good mana curve with our higher costed pals, Anting Mirror that plays on a good mana curve with our higher costed pals that draws us a card, and then we have our powerful events in the colors as well. So at 4 copies, we do have this Chillet the Dragon Whisperer. Then we have 4 copies of Elphadran Aqua. This lets you sculpt your deck as well. With 6 mana, you draw 2 cards, choose 1 card from your hand, and then put it on top of the deck. Then we have 4 copies of the 7 soul cost Relaxosaurus Hungry Gunner. This dragon on deploy, you choose up to 1 6 cost or less pal and rest it. And then while this card is in the base, while this card is on the field, that card does not stand. So it just stays tapped, stays rested as long as Relaxosaurus is on the field. Then we're on 2 copies of Jormuntide the Surging Sea Serpent. This is our big swinging dragon at 8 soul cost. Lucky pal on deploy, draw 1 card, then choose up to 1 7 or less pal and arrest it. And that card does not stand during your opponent's next stand phase, so it taps it down for 2 turns. And then another hit off of our Chillet that we definitely want to see is our 8 cost Astagon Aegis Wyvern of Death. This is our last set of Lucky Pals. We're running a 4-2-2 line of Lucky Pals for that 8 total. But on deploy, you choose up to 1 pal. It gets minus 1,000 power until end of turn. And then that sets up its second ability, where on attack, you choose all pals with 300 attack or less and put them into the graveyard. Astagon is great if you hit off the Chillet very early on to clear out those pesky aggro deck boards. Then we have our 4 copies of Elphadran the Gentle Radiance. This is one of our cheaper dragons to play more of our mid-range, but this card is also really good at removing pesky structures in matchups like mono purple nocturnal builds. And then we have 4 copies of Pingullet the Yearning for the Sky, and this is just another cheap 2 strike pal that also, when it goes to the graveyard, draws you a card. And how we get into the graveyard will come up here in just a little bit. For our interrupts or attack nullifiers, whatever you would like to call it, we are on 10 total. The competitive builds that I've seen so far, or at least that I've the most competitive decks I've come across in testing so far, are on around 10 to 12. More aggro based builds definitely want to run less, maybe around the 8 or 6 count. But in a slower control deck like this, we want to avoid taking damage very early on if possible, and save these for our big swinging turns to protect our larger pals as well from crackbacks from our opponent. Then for our events, we are on 4 Aurora Guide. This is both a very good offensive and defensive card, as this is a quick, so you can play it either during your turn for the 2 mana, or you can play it for 2 mana during your opponent's attack. We are on 2 copies of Zoe Strategy. This is a card I could definitely see more copies of. This card has been always so powerful, especially in the mono green matchups. Choose one of the following. Choose up to 5 of your opponent's ingredients or resources in total, and your opponent loses them. So really hampers and really slows down the mono green decks with light lean. So we'll be seeing that come up here very shortly. And if that doesn't come up, then you have also 2 very good effects of choose up to 1 pal from your graveyard and return it to hand. Your opponent chooses 1 card from their hand and discards it. Notice how it says choose up to 1, so you don't have to choose any pals. You can just play this out for 3 mana, make your opponent discard a card, disrupt their plays potentially for the next turn, or choose one of your pals, butcher it, or sacrifice it if you've played Magic. If you butchered 1 or more cards this way, choose one of your opponent's pals and put it into the graveyard. So a very powerful removal spell as well. We're on 3 copies of a Dark Cannon. This is also a quick, so you can play it during your opponent's attack for 3 souls. Choose 1 5 or less pal and just put it into the graveyard. A really strong removal spell. And then 3 copies of Strike from Darkness, 4 souls, choose 1 pal and put it into the graveyard. So a lot of really hard removal spells very early on, controlling the board, playing out big beefy dragons, swinging for game, going to the dome with strikes 3, strikes 2 over and over again, and forcing our opponent to use up their resources in hand as much as humanly possible. So without further ado, let's get into some replays and show off blue purple dragon control. All right, so for our first replay here, we are against, I believe, a red blue aggro deck. But with this deck, since we are a control deck, we definitely kind of want to go second with this deck, because you really just want to ramp into your Chillette, and going second gives you that 1 additional soul to play on odds. This is one of the best hands that you can open, or this is one of the hands that you are looking for to open. We have a Chillette on our second turn to hit potentially a dragon. We have an early removal spell in the Dark Cannon, and then we have a Relaxosaurus to hit as a follow-up to Chillette if they remove the Chillette and we don't hit anything off of the Chillette, as well as 1 attack nullifier in our hand. Opponent starts us off here. They play a Ruby Brave Sparks, immediately go for the attack. We just take it. Definitely want to use your life as a resource in this game. We draw into another Relaxosaurus, and we're just going to pass our turn on this. Nothing really to do. We'll hold up the Dark Cannon if they play a second pal, and we can also still hold up the attack nullifier here as well. So they go into single shot Sphere Launcher and attack again with the Ruby. We're just going to play out that Dark Cannon since they can't play anything for 1 soul, just to stop that attack and keep our health total nice, since we are going to go into this Chillette during the next turn. They got nothing else on turn 1. We draw into a Jormuntide, so now we start playing our dragons out. We have Chillette. Chillette whiffs and hits a Icy Gaze Raindrix, but that's perfectly okay, because now we just draw into another attack interrupt, attack nullifier. So we get in there to strike, opponent takes it, no blockers. They play out a Kitsune. Kitsune only hits level 7 or greater pals, so our Chillette is safe. They play out Antique Mirror to draw a card. They attack in with the Kitsune with 2 strike. We decide to interrupt this one, discarding that Pingullet, since we're probably not going to get to Pingullet in this turn. And now at this point, we are just controlling the board. We are at 7 souls. We play out one of our Relaxosauruses. We're drawing into huge dragon pals each turn. We're going to tap down this Kitsune. We're going to attack into the opponent for 2 strike. They hit a Lucky Pal, so they don't take any damage. And we'll attack again with this Relaxosaurus, since this Kitsune is just tapped down, and hit them for 3, down to 5. They're going to go with single shot rifle to remove that Relaxosaurus. Basically, Relaxosaurus is just a sponge for removal in this deck. They'll play double makeshift gun to try and remove this Chillette here and clear our board. But we're just drawing into giant dragons at this point, so it doesn't really matter. We're up at 9 mana. We can go Jormuntide, keep their Kitsune as tapped down again, and then swing into them for 3 strike this time. They mill another 3, down to 2 life, so we have lethal next turn. They'll go into Kitsune, deal 1200, attempt to buff their Kitsune with all of their makeshift weapons here to swing into this Jormuntide, but we still have that attack nullifier in our hand as well. They'll go into Pingullet, frequent flyer. We'll attack nullify this Kitsune. Their Pingullet goes in for 1, and basically at this point they have just given up. We draw into an Astagon if they have a way to stop this Jormuntide, and they don't, and the opponent loses on life 8-0. All right, so the second replay that we have here is against green. I believe they splashed purple as well, but it was more like green B-Guard or just green good stuff with a little bit of splashing black for removal. Since black does have some very powerful cards, but opponent's gonna start us off. We're gonna go second. They're gonna play a ranch, so definitely a like resource heavy, ingredient building heavy deck. It's going to pass back over to us, and we are just going to, since our opponent didn't play out any pals, we're not really worried about having to use this Dark Cannon on their attack. We are just going to draw our additional card by using 3 of our souls. Remember, you can do this once per turn, and then now we know what kind of deck they are, so very much so like mid-rangey aggressive style green deck here with the B-Guard. B-Guard comes in immediately, tries to dome us for 1, but we do hit the Astagon off the top of our deck for our lucky pal, so we take no damage. Fortunately, I'd rather take the damage in that point, but it is what it is. We're on 5 souls now, and now we definitely get to do our thing. I should have drawn here, but I was not paying attention. I was holding up a Dark Cannon. Ideally, definitely probably should have just drawn there, but they play out another B-Guard. We have the Dark Cannon now. They use one of the B-Guards for the ranch ability, so that does save us a little bit to gain their resources, and then attack us with a B-Guard, and we're just going to go ahead and Dark Cannon that second B-Guard to keep their board state in check. We also, during the attack step, we do get to chain that Aurora Guide to draw us an additional card, and we draw into a Pingullet, so a nice little blocker there. And you do have the option to put something on top of your deck. You don't have to if you do have something like a Lucky Pal or something in hand, but we decide to just keep everything in hand. I do like all of these cards, and they're going to spend their last mana to draw a card. All right. So we are at 7 souls now. I know I keep saying mana. I do apologize. We're at 7 souls now. So now we get to start playing out our dragons and back it up with our removal spells. Honestly, probably should have played the Zoe strategy out earlier too as well. Maybe like Zoe strategy to just remove these resources since they're an ingredient heavy deck. We have the Relaxosaurus. We're going to tap down this B-Guard. Keep it tapped down the entire time, and we're going to take out this ranch structure so they can't continue to grow their resources every turn, their ingredients every turn. And here comes the Lylene on 7 mana on 8 mana on perfect curve. So definitely should have just crippled their resources going into their turn, crippled their ingredients going into this turn with our Zoes to just keep them from being able to spend this immediate ingredients to play out another creature. So that they're all, because they're always going to hit, they look at 5 cards and get to choose one of them to play with this Lylene. Incredible card. So they go directly to the dome with the Lylene. We decide to block it with that Peer and Noct that we drew into. Again, attack nullifier is very important in this game to save us some health or save us from milling our important cards, and they keep this B-Guard up as a defensive tool to protect their Lylene. But bad news for them, we just have a ton of removal in our hand that we've just been holding on to this entire time. So we go Relaxosaurus into this Lylene, force their block with the B-Guard. That's perfectly fine. Play out this Elphadrim into their dome, since we have this one tapped down forever while we control a Relaxosaurus, and they can't really buff to go into this Relaxosaurus with their Lylene. They do hit their Lucky Pal here, so they don't take any damage, but we do use the Strike from Darkness just to clear up that Lylene as well. We could have done it a little cleaner by using the Zoe strategy here to take out some of their ingredients, but it is what it is. That's why we're learning. That's why we're playtesting the deck. And they follow up the next turn again with another Lylene. Insane. Using those 3 ingredients again to hit the Petalia. The Petalia coming in, gaining 1 life and untapping 2 souls. So they're back up to 5. And they use that immediately to play a Zoe strategy to remove the B-Guard that we have tapped down and remove our Relaxosaurus. Now, here's where our opponent, I believe, messed up. They go for the dome. They go attack to direct with the Petalia instead of trying to clear out our Elphadran here. And we're able to just control the board. Like, I have no problem using life as a resource in this game. So now we drew into a Relaxosaurus. Now we can buff this Elphadran, so now this Elphadran can clear out this Lylene very profitably. So we'll reveal that Relaxosaurus, take out the Lylene. Now we have the Relaxosaurus to tap down the Petalia. We're not going to take any chances though. We're going to attack out that Petalia here, clear it out, clear out the board, take control of this game. And again, I should be playing, I don't know why I'm not playing the Zoe strategy. Maybe I just forgot that it takes out the ingredients, but I should definitely play out Zoe strategy here to take out these last ingredients and put them on one ingredient. We do that. Let's go. We finally use one of our Zoe strategies here that has been clogging up our hand. So down to 1 ingredient, down to 6 cards in hand. We have the control of the board, and now they are just playing out their cheap mid-range creatures. They go Gumas into Gumas, attack directly. We hit a Jormuntide. We hit our Lucky Pals, so we don't take any damage. They go Gumas into our Elphadran here, which is perfectly fine because now we just have constant control of the board. We're just going to be drawing into dragons every turn at this point. We go Elphadran Aqua. That lets us draw 2, put 1 back. So we draw into another Interrupt to protect our board. We put back the Zoes since we want to control our monsters. We only really are going to use it for the Pinglet at this point. If we play out the Pinglet as a blocker, and then we can just use these 2 Strike from Darknesses to take out their large pals. So clearing up the board once more. Relaxosaurus into Gumas, Elphadran Aqua into Gumas. Play out this Pinglet as another blocker to protect our board. They go back to their turn. They're just playing out cheap stuff at this point, flailing for the game. They go Doomud into B-Guard, get a couple more resources, get a couple more ingredients. They don't have a farm structure, so we don't have to worry. They decide to go Lily's strategy here to buff up their team up to 1500, 1400, try and clear this board. But we do have a Pinglet, and we also do have the Raindrix in hand as well to discard the Strike from Darkness to just protect our board completely and clean it up afterwards. They go B-Guard into our Relaxosaurus. We block with the Pinglet. We draw an additional card. Draw it back into that Zoe strategy. They go Doomud into Relaxosaurus, and we discard that Zoe strategy and that Raindrix to protect our board. And now we're just holding on to 2 Strikes from Darkness. We draw into another Elphadran. We're just top decking like a king at this point. Drawing 2 cards, put 1 card back. We'll put back the Astegon just in case they get like a big attacker out on their next turn. They're down to 2 cards. We're controlling this board at this point. We attack our Elphadran into their Doomud, Elphadran into B-Guard. Now we have a Relaxosaurus coming at them for 3 to the dome and down to 8. We hit some of their draw spells. They play out another B-Guard. We have the Raindrix here. They draw a card and they decide to scoop it up after playing out another B-Guard, seeing the writing on the wall. Okay, and so our next replay is going to be against blue-red Dragon Control, and we lose the coin toss and we're actually put on the play. So we don't know at the time that they're also on dragons, but I'm pretty sure at this point, like if you're playing a dragon or you're playing like a control deck, you want to go second for that extra card draw, that extra soul, and you don't mind giving up 1 or 2 life at the beginning. So we go first. We open the Antique Mirror for a free card draw into a Cryolinx. So we do have our Interrupt in hand now, and we do have a pretty good curve here since we can go just Elphadran on 2. They go on their first turn into Celeray to loot. Attacking us directly. We will just take the 1. We mill another Elphadran, and now we control the board from here. We go Elphadran ourselves, just attack into the Celeray. There's no need to reveal here since we already have more power, so we don't need to show them what exactly we are on. And so attack over the Celeray. They go for their turn 4, a pretty weak turn 4 of just playing Palsphere to draw 2 cards. So pass it back to us, and now we just have complete control over the board. Huge tempo loss for them by playing that Palsphere that early. So we'll hit for 2 strike with the Elphadran here, bring them down to 2. We mill out a Cryolinx and an Elphadran Aqua, so now we know that they are also on dragons. So now we just need to control the board and make sure we keep control of the board from here. We play out our Chillette. Our Chillette actually hits Elphadran, but little UI bug here. I don't know what it says underneath this. And so I just choose a random option thinking that it will be played out. So we honestly would have had an even better tempo swing here, but I accidentally selected the option to add it to my hand and not play it out. Unfortunate bug there with the UI, a little rough, but we'll play out the Chillette. The Chillette will attack, we'll hit 2. They should be at 4 at this point. They played the Victor strategy to draw an extra card. And I guess they're just desperate at this point for any kind of gas, anything to do. They use the rest of their souls to play out an Elphadran, but we still have that Cryo Links in hand. They buff up their Elphadran, revealing a dragon. That's okay. We don't really care. We'll just use the Cryo Links here because then we can just swing back over the Elphadran, and that's our only pal on the field. So full control of the board. We'll go Elphadran. We'll actually reveal this time to swing over their Elphadran to clear that off the field. Now we'll go Chillette to the Dome to do 2 more. Mill off a fire card and another Pal Sphere, and we'll play out this Elphadran to stack the top of our deck as well. We'll get in there for another 2 directly to the Dome, and this time I believe, yeah, they use their Cryo Links in hand, they use their Interrupt in hand, or their attack nullifier, so holding on to that 4 HP. They play out a Relaxosaurus at 9 mana, holding over 2 to tap down our Elphadran. That's perfectly fine. They'll swing over our Chillette, but again, at this point, we are so far ahead in tempo. We have so many more cards. We'll go ahead and use the Aurora Guide here on the opponent's attack just to draw into something, see what we can draw. We draw into an Relaxosaurus, and so we'll just keep it in hand. They'll attack over the Chillette. That's perfectly fine, because now we can go Elphadran to the face. No need to reveal here. They take 2. We have a Raindrix here now for another interrupt for anything that they can play. They really have to control the board because we're so far ahead in life. So we'll just play out 2 different pals. We'll play out the Pingullet on 4, attack for 2. They have to hit a lucky pal or they lose. And so we'll just use the rest of our mana to play out the other Elphadran. We drew into another Raindrix as well as a Cryo Links. So now we have 2 attack nullifiers in our hand. We'll use the Elphadran Aqua and we will swing for lethal. So that's the deck. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. And while you're there, remember to like, subscribe, support the video. Become a member today. Subscribe over on Twitch if you'd like to support the channel even further. And let me know down in the comments below if you're going to be playing the Palworld card game, if you're interested in the Palworld card game. If so, what is your favorite pal? I don't know. What do you want to build your decks around? What decks do you want to see play tested in the next video? So guys, gals, and bees, YouTube catters, pal tamers, hope you enjoyed this video. And as always, good night.